So we're going to be speaking about the potential of native grapes with Daniel O'Donnell, winemaker, consultant. Let's start from the beginning. When did you first come to Turkey? And what were your thoughts on wines and winemaking for that time?
Oh, I came a while ago. First off, I have no idea why you guys want to listen to me. I'm just an old, kind of fat dirt farmer. I've been in the vineyards for...
You look in pretty good shape to me.
I got all dressed up for you guys today.
Good to go.
I've been in the vineyards for grand total, about 50 vintages, various places in the world. So I got here 13, 14, 15 years ago, something like that. And the reason I'm still here is not for Cabernet Sauvignon. It certainly isn't for Chardonnay or Syrah. It is for the native grapes of Turkey, which are awesome. Awesome. Yeah. And it literally is, aside from working with the princess and the team that I have, it is literally the only reason I'm here. The potential of these grapes are outstanding.
Fantastic. And what struck you about the region of Eastern Anatolia? And of course, consequently, what struck you as well about the main characteristic of the öküz gözü and Boğazkere grapes?
Well, not just those two, and I don't know what struck me, but making wine around the world, you have, let's say, Syrah from the Rhone or Syrah from Australia. There's Syrah, there are differences. There's differences in viticulture, and there's differences in farming, there's differences in weather, there's differences in temperament. But you never, or seldom do you have the chance to taste something truly unique. And coming here, although the first bottlings that I had tasted here were some 15 years ago were somewhat disappointing, you really could be in the vineyards and you taste the grapes and you knew there was something magical. It just hadn't quite come out yet, or I hadn't figured out how to do it yet. And it is that uniqueness that drew me here and has kept me here. It's a one-of-a-kind thing. I mean, Turkey, you guys have not only an agricultural treasure, you have fucking natural, native treasures here. I mean, you can't let these go away. They're unique. You will never, ever make the best Cabernet Sauvignon in the world as far as the world sees it, but you absolutely can make the world's best Narinje. You can absolutely make the world's best Öküz gözü, and you should. And in my humble opinion, it is not the grapes that have the potential. It's the people behind the grapes that have the potential. The people that are making them, the people that are caring for them, people who are training the next generation. Before the world really understands Öküz gözü, I'm going to be dead and gone. The princess is going to be the one that's going to make it famous.
Yeah, here.
Right? You know, the wine world is glacial in speed. It's just so slow. There's hundreds of years of fantastic marketing about Bordeaux and about Champagne and about the Margaret River. We need to look at this as a generational thing. And we need to work towards that. Train the next generation, believe in what you're doing, grow them, cherish them.
And on that subject, can you also tell us a little bit about your experience with the vinification of the Boğazkere and öküz gözü grapes?
No.
No? You don't want to answer that?
You know, grapes are grapes. There are methodologies, both natural and manipulated and scientific. There's ways of approaching it. You take a grape, if it's ripe, add yeast, or yeast has itself, it's going to make wine. Right? It's just going to happen all by itself. You can augment that process by temperature, or when you pick it, or how much shade is on the particular grape, how old it is, whether it's on rootstock, when you press it, do you press it, do you add stems, do you not add stems, and I think it's unimportant what I do. I think what's more important is what everybody else will do. And that's the important thing, to keep believing in it. And as Jose said, if you don't want this to go away, drink it. And I would firmly encourage everyone in this room not only to drink native varietals, but tell your friends to drink native varietals, introduce them to them, whether they're Yabancı or whether they're Turkish. Believe in what you have.
And speaking of believing in what we have, why don't you, in that case, tell us about your journey and relationship to the Buzba brand? Because that's something close to your heart, no?
It is.
Yeah.
Buzba is an interesting thing. I'll start this story by asking you a question. In my world, I'm going to use macaroni and cheese. Who makes the best macaroni and cheese? Your mother makes the best macaroni and cheese. And if you don't think that, you're a communist. And it is because what you were brought up to understand that macaroni and cheese was. And it's your milestone. It's how you measure all other macaroni and cheeses. I felt like, in the stories that I've understood about Buzba, is that's kind of Turkey's macaroni and cheese as it relates to wine. When you were in university, it was 1 TL, and that's what you could afford, and that's what you went out and bought. Cleaner fruit, and we tidied up the cellars that we had. We streamlined the process. We approached it in a very careful blending way, but we couldn't or did not want to change the personality of Buzba. We just wanted to make every bottle a pleasant experience instead of one bottle being a pleasant experience and one being a horrifying nightmare. And there were some. I mean, I wouldn't put it on a salad. It was that bad.
So, but what were really the main characteristic of Buzba for you?
Well, it's this leathery animal, tannic, boiscade part that I think screams southeastern Turkey. I mean, it just screams that. And then you have this light, juicy, crunchy, acidic oskuzgozu, and the two just seem to blend seamlessly in a way that I normally wouldn't expect going into a vineyard and tasting the grapes. I wouldn't normally expect the two to go together. But after being here for a little while and understanding the Turkish palate and learning the grapes a bit more, I can answer that if you want. It turned out that it was just a lovely, lovely blend, and quite happy with it. And Emre Adam, the guy who's the winemaker, the on-site winemaker in Elazığ, I think he probably has the finest palate in Turkey for those two specific grapes.
And would you say these grapes are rooted in with the old wines of the Mesopotamian region? Jose, tell us, are these grapes rooted in the Mesopotamian region? No.
Most of them are not. I do know that some of our vineyards are very, very old. I have no idea how old, and I do know that a lot of them were propagated by layering, so genetically they're pure, going back to however long. I can't wait to find out eventually where these come from. Yeah.
Oh, well. I think it's really nice that we could make this a little bit interactive. So if you have any questions, please.
Anybody? Yes, my mother's macaroni and cheese is on.
Yeah, I was like, can you give us the recipe for macaroni and cheese?
Yeah. So, I mean, I want to give my time to other people that are far more interesting than myself. So I'm going to cut this loose, but I can't underline or emphasize enough that you guys have a treasure. You have many of them, and you can't let them go away. You know, the genetic material will always be saved in a lab, or it'll be in an experimental vineyard somewhere. But to really enjoy them, you have to grow it, you have to make it, and you have to encourage the next generation to do this, to take the handle and really go forward with it. There's a lot of things that you can experience with this. There's not just one oskuzgozu. There's not just one narinje. The winemakers are going to give you different expressions of all of those, and I would really encourage everybody to try as many as you can and fly the flag of your native grapes. Really do. They're so unique. They're unique enough that I've spent 15 years, 14, 15 years just trying to figure them out. And I hope, you know, if I live for another 20 years, maybe by then I'll figure out 10% of what I want to. I mean, they're fascinating. They're fascinating. You can't taste this and you can't smell this anywhere else in the world. And wine drinkers always want to compare something. Like, oh, what does Osugo taste like? Does it taste like Barbera? Does it taste like... It doesn't. It tastes like Osugozu. You know, leave it at that. And Narinje tastes like Narinje. Leave it at that. Enjoy it and cherish it. Thank you all for coming.
So, yeah.
And I'll give it over to
thank you for all your contributions.
Yeah, no, I've been doing it. It's her. That girl right there in the white dress.
There she is.
Cheers, you guys. Thank you. I love you.
Well,